There's only about 3 of them that are legitimate. And
well, stuff comes from
maybe
his
it's
patents and
2.
stuff comes from his patents and stuff. Like we
I've
go
looked,
through,
by the way,
we
I've
don't go
looked
through
into
your
this.
everyday life without running across at least.
I've looked into this. So yes, old technology is used in a lot of modern technology.
There you go.
For example,
exactly.
Tesla invented.
So he started it. He started the process.
No, he didn't. So Tesla's credited with inventing the modern version of the three-phase induction motor.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the first person to invent an induction motor. He wasn't the first person to invent a multi-phase induction motor.
And like
that
I said,
predates him by like 100 years.
I don't got a PhD or nothing. I just kind of look into physics as a hobby. It's more of a hobby to me. I've never went to school for it and stuff. It's just something I like doing.
Tesla wasn't a physicist, by the way.
But
this will not go well.
And this is where it's not going to go well for you, Dr. Blitz.
Tesla wasn't a physicist, by the way.
So why are you saying this? Why do you think Tesla's not a physicist? Just because he didn't follow the beliefs we have now that we've proven 100 years later? He was a physicist of his time. It's a pretty weird thing to say. Wish I had recorded the rest of this so that I could actually show what the other things you were saying, but I don't believe you'll be that upset with me paraphrasing you here. But I believe you don't think he basically did anything other than a few things. I think you think he was just an electrician of the sorts. I will admit he technically didn't get his undergrad in physics. He was doing his undergraduate work in mechanical engineering and he did not finish it. However, that being said, he had many honorary degrees and honorary PhDs from a couple different universities. This is why they referred to him as Dr. Tesla at the end of his life. And just because you don't understand how some of his stuff works doesn't mean it doesn't work. Just because you aren't privy to it being used, it doesn't mean it doesn't work and it's not being used. I think you forget what was going on during the last years of his life. Considering he died in 1945, spent the last 20 years of his life penniless, doing nothing but lived in a double room in the most expensive and most lavish hotel in the entire world at the time. Rent free. Got it. He was working on confidential projects, bro. He worked for the government. It's not that complicated. Again, just because you're not privy to this information doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean it's not being done. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe you're familiar with ground dipole antennas. They functionally couldn't have worked if Tesla wasn't absolutely right about the Earth is conductive, meaning the Earth can be used as the transmission waveguide medium for electric currents and mechanical vibrations. I don't think you understand what he actually was doing because you haven't actually looked into this. I know you say you have.
I've looked into this.
I can tell you haven't by what you're saying here. I know you haven't. As someone who also has a degree in physics, I'm not a doctor, but who's someone who also has a degree in physics, I have looked at this, and it is absolutely viable, works, it's being used, and I can say because you're saying what you're saying, you haven't looked into it. And it's fine. I know that a lot of the stuff is hidden, so you might think you looked into it. The biggest problem with Tesla's work is that there is a bunch of people who have gone out and manufactured nonsense to either explain it or just attach his name to theirs. But it might look like you have even dove really far in to his work, but really it might never even scratch the surface because even personally, I really dislike how hard it is to find all of his work. One, because thanks Elon for, you can't search anything about Nikola Tesla without just being flooded with the car ads that have nothing to do with this, so cool. Thanks for that help, Elon. If you don't know where to find them, you're not going to know what he actually said. And if you listen to what other people said, you're just going to get told it can't work. You're going to get told it can't work for reasons that it doesn't even work too. As I've made multiple videos about Neil deGrasse Tyson and a couple other people claiming things about it, and it's just blatant straw man. It's just blatant straw man arguments that saying it can't work for reasons it doesn't even operate. For example, Neil deGrasse Tyson has said,
the people in the Nikola Tesla fan club somehow feel that he got wronged in his life. Everyone is thinking he's got the solution to the future transmission of energy. No, he doesn't.
Well, I don't think anyone's saying that, but what
He
they are
did,
saying
and his fans do. But his contributions to electromagnetism are real and recognized in the world of physics. There's a unit of electromagnetism named after him. So don't come crying to me, say he was not recognized by my people, okay? He had some ideas that were a little out there on a level where it almost certainly would have not worked. Much of the rest of his work was fringe and unrealized, either for violating known laws of physics or for being simply impractical. That's a bold statement. Electromagnetic energy, you can ask, how much energy is in that? Well, not much. Well, of what good is it? You're not going to run a motor with it. Oh, you know what we found? We can use electromagnetic radio waves. We can use radio waves not to transmit energy. That's not the point of it. As your photons get higher and higher energy, yes, you can start doing things with them. You get X-rays and gamma rays. But that's not what Tesla was referring to. He was talking about moving radio waves. This opening thesis is false. There are plenty of examples of this that have escaped your attention, and here's why.
The problem is that's not what Tesla said to do at all. Tesla's wireless transmission system does not send energy through the air using electromagnetic waves, radio waves or otherwise. It sends alternating electric currents and mechanical vibrations through the dirt and soil. This is what seismology is all about.
I feel like we have a good jumping off point. Okay.
The circumference of the Earth could be...
honestly.
Do you want this in kilometers or miles?
Fuck if I care.
24,901 miles.
Well, we gotta write this down. Can you get a Post-it or, something? Stick that up. We can see a difference in structure here. We clearly have some sort of pyramid cap on it, which is likely made of a different material that suits my interests.
Let me ask you this. If you were to place an antenna anywhere in a pyramid...
I mean, being a rational kind of guy, I'd put it at the highest point.
What's the highest point of a pyramid?
But that's not what Tesla was referring to. So then I thought, out of respect for him, what I should do is give him my most informed critical analysis that I can. In my field, you come up with an idea.
I mean, being a rational kind of guy, I'd put it at the highest point.
You present it either at a conference or you...
About pseudoarchaeology and pseudoscience a lot, because God knows these videos are a dime a dozen. Pseudoscience pipeline that the algorithm of these apps literally encourages.
Cap. No way. Bullshit.
What's going on, man?
To your colleagues. It is their duty to alert you of things about your ideas that are either misguided or wrong.
Let me ask you this. If you were to place an antenna anywhere in a pyramid...
I mean, being a rational kind of guy, I'd put it at the highest point.
And what's the highest point of a pyramid?
Their job. Not all ideas will turn out to be correct. Most won't be.
I mean, being a rational kind of guy, I'd put it at the highest point.
Moving radio waves. But to get to that point, you need to know things like...
Nikola Tesla's wireless energy transmission system does not rely on sending energy through the air using radio waves. It sends energy via alternating electric currents or mechanical vibrations through the earth and the conductive dirt and soil. The earth is conductive and also transmits mechanical vibrations. This is what seismology is all about. Add on the bacon bits of the electroseismic effect, where mechanical vibrations of the earth rectify into alternating electric currents because the earth itself is piezoelectric or piezoelectric.
I feel like there's a key ingredient here. The one problem is we
go between like meters and feet when convenient.
Oh my!
He proposed a method for the transmission of large amounts of power over vast distances by means of mechanical vibration of the Earth's crust. The source of power is a mechanical or electromechanical device.
No way. I can find no evidence of these. I doubt they were archaeologists, because every archaeologist who's looked at it has said it's a fucking mountain.
Bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump, 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 jump.
Whoa! You know why? Because it's... of sedimentary rock. There's like layers of stone underneath that are all really loose. So
Electromechanical device bolted to some rocky protuberance, imparting power at a resonance frequency for the transmission of large amounts of power over vast distances by means of mechanical vibrations of the Earth's crust. The source of power is a mechanical oscillator, i.e.
pyramid.
Either just a set of tuning forks, or...
It makes a fucking... Yes, they are all natural. Pyramid in Antarctica.
I know something you don't know.
Cap. No way. Vulcan not. Jesus Christ, we need to fund education in this country. You can't get me this fucking riled up looking like this, bro, okay? It's ridiculous. Clearly seem to be created. What is your expertise in this field, huh? Every archaeologist will tell you that is definitely just a natural rock, but me, fucking
Physicist.
I know the truth.
So mechanical vibrations put in the earth rectify into electrical currents through the earth as well, vice versa. Electrical currents through the earth can rectify into mechanical vibrations through the earth. It works. You're just not familiar with it.
You can't pack sufficient energy in your radio wave to do anything we need to do mechanically. If you had enough power in radio waves to power a light bulb through the air, are you standing in the way of this? You want to move it through the air and you want to walk around like, no, that's not how that works.
I've looked into this.
Again, I also know it took me many years to actually breach the surface of his actual work, getting through all the woo-woo. I think it's intentional, but that's just my belief. But there is a literal hard shell of absolute nonsense and crazy surrounding and enshrouding all of his actual work. And if you don't go read his actual patents, you won't know anything about what he actually said. You're gonna get flooded with a sea of literal fake quotes from him plastered all across his face of pictures. Everyone who can watch any of this will know that they've looked at any group related to Nikola Tesla, and it's just fake quotes and nothing related to what he actually did. It's just repeating the same stuff over and over and over.
Can I blow your mind again? This is really good stuff. People in the Nikola Tesla fan club somehow feel that he got wronged in his life.
Yes.
Surely some of that is true with regard to his.
I'm pretty sure it's because there's information control. But, I'll do this right now. Do you see how big this book is? This is just his U.S. patents, bro. Just the U.S. And he had a bunch that he didn't patent in the U.S. because he didn't need to. He was only patenting them where he thought they were reasonable to protect his ideas, because he wasn't an altruist. He was still trying to make money off his ideas. He just wasn't a manufacturer.
There's only about 3 of them that are
He had over
legitimate.
300 patents.
So
Maybe
much
it's
patenting.
2.
I don't think you can name any of them and don't have to deal with any sort of electrical work, too. He's got like 6 different steam turbines. In fact, he invented the Chang thermodynamics cycle 50 years before Dr. Chang got credit for it in the 70s. I don't think you realize that. But no, he wasn't a physicist. He only did all sorts of thermodynamics work. He only did electrical work. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't call him a mechanical engineer because he knows a lot of electrical work, and you wouldn't call him an electrical engineer because he knows a heck ton of mechanical work. And I'm pretty sure the physicist is a combination of electrical, mechanical, acoustics. Now we do a lot more wave theory and quantum mechanics. But what exactly do you think the spherical harmonics of the Earth is governed by? The vibrational modes in the Earth. It is literally quantum mechanics. What we studied. You know how many times we were taught stuff, and they taught us the math and told us it was for this, and then later we were taught something else, and they're like, hey, you remember the math you learned on that? It's the same stuff. You just apply it slightly different. Something like linear algebra. You're doing matrices, you set up matrices the same way, and you just keep doing the solutions for the matrices over, and they keep telling you, hey, so you do this, you can solve these things with this system of numbers with it, you can solve these, and you're like, each time you're like, wait, did we do that? Cool. It's the same thing. You just keep putting things in the same matrix the same way. But it's clear. He had multiple improvements for turbines. He had multiple improvements for sulfur extraction methods. He had patents for the metal purifications. He had a freaking rainmaking patent that the only reason he doesn't have his name to it is because they turned it down, not because it couldn't work, but because it was an already existing natural process, and you can't patent a natural process. So it worked. It just wasn't allowed to have a patent for it. So, and I don't think you know anything about his rainmaking patent. Do you know about his car patent that he had? He's got a Tesla valve. What he did in these improvement patents displays just how well he understood physics above a lot of other people of his time. And not just mechanical, not just electrical, in ways that you wouldn't ever see from either of them. He was a physicist. He wasn't a modern physicist because he didn't go to school at the same time we did. They didn't have that science before him. He was like 60, 70 by the time all those theories that you think he was disproved on even were theorized. Never mind, I even have proof that Tesla actually has measured the positron a whole 30 years before Carl Anderson got a Nobel Prize for inadvertently measuring it. 30 years later. Yeah, he wasn't a physicist. He only was measuring cosmic rays. He was only one of the first of them to really quite classify and talk about them. He only had a patent for collecting them and using them for actual work, which I know you're going to try and tell me couldn't work because of the cosmic ray flux density isn't high enough. But I'm telling you, you're not familiar with the rest of his work to make it work. It doesn't just work. He patented the components to things. That's how patents work. He wasn't dumb just because you were told he was. On this occasion, I would contradict the widely circulated report that the structure was demolished by the government, which owing to war conditions might have created prejudice in the minds of those who might not know that the papers, which 30 years ago conferred upon me the honor of American citizenship, are always kept in a safe, while my orders, diplomas, degrees, gold medals, and other distinctions are packed away in old trunks. If this report had a foundation, I would have been refunded a large sum of money which I expended in the construction of the tower. On the contrary, it was in the interest of the government to preserve it, particularly as it would have made possible, to mention just one valuable result, the location of a submarine in any part of the world. My plant, services, and all my improvements have always been at the disposal of the officials, and ever since the outbreak of the European conflict, I have been working at a sacrifice on several inventions of mine relating to aerial navigation, ship propulsion, and wireless transmission, which are of the greatest importance to the country. Those who are well informed know that my ideas have revolutionized the industries of the United States, and I am not aware that there lives an inventor who has been, in this respect, as fortunate as myself, especially as regards to the use of his improvements in the war. I have refrained from publicly expressing myself on this subject before, as it seemed improper to dwell on personal matters while all the world was in dire trouble. I would add further, in view of the various rumors which have reached me, that Mr. J. Pierpont Morgan did not interest himself with me in a business way, but in the same large spirit in which he has assisted many other pioneers. He carried out his generous promise to the letter, and it would have been most unreasonable to expect from him anything more. He had the highest regard for my attainments and gave me every evidence of his complete faith in my ability to ultimately achieve what I had set out to do. I am unwilling to accord to some small-minded and jealous individuals the satisfaction of having thwarted my efforts.